Good evening, YouTube, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Splatzloki Reviews Movies. Today's installment is Batman vs. Superman: The Dawn of Shitfest. Or Justice. It depends on what you think justice is. I'm your host with the most, Splatzloki. And yeah, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. For first episode, this is a true gem. It's a goddamn unicorn, and I feel slightly honored and privileged to be covering this movie for my first installment, because rarely, if ever, is there a movie so fucking deplorable that you can freely condemn it uh, without being unfair. There's no way to be unfair to this movie. It's goddamn ridiculous. Whatever you, whatever I have to do, whatever I have to say to get you to not go watch this movie, just accept that I've said that. Imagine, pretend that I've said that. I've said exactly that. Uh, if you don't like Ebola, this movie causes Ebola. You know. If you don't like genital warts, if you think they're disgusting, this movie is genital warts. Okay? Whatever it is that keeps you from adding to the proceeds of this walking, talking, pusillanimous abomination, yeah, don't do it. Don't add money to this total. This movie, it had a great opening weekend, but there's reasons for that which I'll discuss. But don't do that to yourself. Don't don't encourage this company. Don't don't you gotta do it for humanity. Don't watch this movie. You know, uh, it is a monster, and it needs to be destroyed. It needs to be stabbed in the eye and then dismembered. Then the pieces need to be poured into a cement block, and that cement block needs to be dropped into the Marianas Trench. Hopefully that's enough, but it probably isn't. So let's get started. This movie is the worst superhero movie since the 70s. Zack Snyder should be publicly flogged for having created it. And Jesse Eisenberg needs to be deported to a war zone where he's fed to crocodiles. He he is not deserving of skin. Um. Okay. Uh. First off, this movie, it misses on everything. Direction, production, casting, scripting, even soundtrack. The movie doesn't work. The plots don't work. The storyboard doesn't work. The acting doesn't work. Nothing works. This movie is not a movie. It's an art project. It's an art project. It should have been a short film, a skit that might be, shown at a wannabe Cannes Film, a Sundance Film Festival. It's an independent movie. It is not a Hollywood production. They spent, I think, like $150 billion on this shit. I don't see more than $2,000 being spent on this movie. I don't see how it's possible. If you hate Superman, and you hate Batman, and you hate comic books, and you hate movies, then go watch this movie. Go support this movie and give your money to these people. But if you like Batman, or Superman, or DC Comics, or movies, or being entertained, then you want to avoid this movie like the plague. It's absolutely, motherfucking, undeniably, without a shred of doubt, horrible. Now, I did this to myself. I knew about the reviews, and I went there because I had nothing better to do, and I was slightly curious to see if this movie lived up to its bad reputation, and I wanted to review it for you guys, and I was wrong. I should never have gone. And I can't take it back. And I can't undo what has been done. The memories will haunt me now until Age of Apocalypse comes out. At least I hope that's when the pain ends. So yeah, don't do that to yourself. Don't do it. Just don't. Curiosity, bad curiosity in this case. Now, of the bad acting, let's start with Batman. Ben Affleck, the Batfleck. He was flat. He was flat, and he was boring, and he was stupid. Some of that was scripting. He was written to sound and act like a complete fucking moron. But even if all he had to do was give the character's voice inflection, or use an expression to convey a thought, or body language, none of that could save Batman from Ben Affleck. The two best parts of Batman were the voice synthesizer which spared us from hearing Ben Affleck make a voice that comes off as tough. So we didn't have to go through that. And there was one fight scene which you saw in the trailer, which that credit goes to the choreographer. That has nothing to do with Batfleck. So kudos to the voice synthesizer and the choreographer. Hooray. Then there's Superman. Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill cannot act. He was a bad pick for Man of Steel, and they kept him. I don't know why they kept him, but they did. And he cannot act. The fact that he can't act was somewhat hidden by the fact that he was acting opposite Amy Adams, who can barely act. And in this case, he not only had to portray Superman, but he had to have his character react to another character, that of Batman. So, he can't pull off Superman, which means he sure as fuck can't pull off Superman in context reacting to Batman. That's impossible. That's completely fucking impossible. And that's the job that they gave him, that they paid him millions of dollars to do. So, yeah. Superman, this was a sequel to Man of Steel. Man of Steel sucked, and this sucked even worse. Where did the money go? Well, I have two theories about this. One is the cameos. In the cameos, you had people like Lawrence Fishburne, and then you had Jeremy Irons playing Alfred, who may as well have been a cameo because I think he only had like 4 lines. All of which I think all of them were shown in the trailer also. So the cameos were star-studded to a degree, and that might have sucked up some of the money, but not all of it. I think all the money got sucked up by the promotions department. The promotions department lied to you. They lied to all of us. They've perpetrated a fraud. They have sold us a flaming turd. And I think we believed them. I don't want to believe that we believed them, but I think we did. And I think we were riding high. We were riding high off of Deadpool, and we said, intuitively, this is the competition. Marvel has upped the game. DC will try to stay on par, will try to compete, and they will up their game. And they learned from their mistakes from Man of Steel, and no, that could not have been further from the truth. In fact, it's the complete opposite of the truth. The only thing that makes sense is that they're trying to destroy DC Comics. They're trying to murder our love of comics and our love of movies for some evil Machiavellian reasons. I can't begin to imagine why they would do that. But it's the only explanation for this thing. But all the money for the movie must have gone into the promotions department. It's just the only thing that makes sense. Anyway, there's nothing redemptive about this movie, and the worst part of it was Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg. That CGI monster at the end of the movie, that is not the main bad guy. The main bad guy is Lex Luthor, and Jesse Eisenberg is not Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg needs to be just removed from Hollywood. Jesse Eisenberg is a war crime with legs. Jesse Eisenberg was the twitchiest mix. He could have been confused. Maybe he mixed the Riddler and the Joker, turned that mix into a complete pussy and a retard, and that's who he thought he was supposed to be. In which case, if that's who he thought he was supposed to act out, then he nailed it. But if he thought he was supposed to be acting like Lex Luthor, then he's a complete retard. Now, the script was no better. In fact, the script of this thing is only slightly worse than Jesse Eisenberg. The script had him acting like Wile E. Coyote. And the script had Batman, the Master Detectives, and Superman acting like complete retards. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know how to do it. They didn't know what the other guy was doing. They didn't know nothing. I mean, I'm surprised that they just nothing. None of it made any fucking sense. A 12-year-old could figure shit out better than these so-called superheroes. They would have avoided the obstacles that these guys just kept running into face first. And the Wile E. Coyote scenario set up by fucking Jesse Eisenberg, they wouldn't have worked ever. And they worked, and Superman and Batman fight, and then Lois Lane shows up in the nick of time to tell Batman that Superman's mother's name was the same as his mother's name, and that kept Batman from killing Superman. even though Batman killed everybody else in this movie. And Batman, being a master of technology, was going to kill Superman with a spear. He took some kryptonite, which he did not know could kill Superman, like Luthor knew, but Batman did not. And he stuck it to the end of a stick, and his plan was to stab Superman with it. That was the whole movie. If you think I've spoiled the movie for you, you're wrong. The movie spoiled the movie for you. I promise you that. So yeah. The whole thing was contrived and pointless and full of plot holes, stupid dialogue. It was an absolute fucking shit show. The worst part about this is the lesson derived. The lesson derived from us is that DC sucks, and it's that Zack Snyder cannot be trusted ever again, and it's that the movies that have been scheduled for release that will introduce characters from the DC universe, from the Justice League universe, or Justice League storyline, those movies will all suck. So, fuck Aquaman, fuck Flash, fuck the standalone Batman movie, fuck the Justice League movie, fuck all that. I'm missing all of that shit. That shit is going to fucking reek. And while this fucking production company goes through its growing pains, I'm just going to have to wait however many years it takes for Marvel to produce their stuff. Their stuff is the only stuff that I have to look forward to now, and the space between those good movies just got that much longer, thanks to these assholes at DC. So no. The other lesson that can be derived is the lesson that the studio learned. The studio learned that if they can tell a convincing enough lie through paying their promotions department fucking shitloads of cash, if promotions tells a convincing enough lie, then we'll set opening weekend box office records for them, and we will hand them millions of dollars to feed us absolute fucking shit. We have encouraged them to abuse us, our brains, to abuse our love of comics, to abuse movies and actors, by making them act like retards and say stupid shit for stupid reasons. We taught them that they can get away with murder by handing them money for this thing. There's still hope. You are our only hope. You who have not seen this movie must not see this movie. You must not encourage them in any way, shape, or form to think even for a second that they can get away with this shit. My God. So yeah, they use this money, this movie to try to set up sequels, and those sequels are going to equally suck, and they're going to be much worse actually, because those movies include characters that are nowhere as good as Batman and Superman. I'm going to boycott all their movies, and out of all of this, I only feel bad for two people. One is Gal Gadot, the woman who plays Wonder Woman. I thought the way she was introduced in the movie was retarded. The scenes they gave her were stupid. The motivation behind her character, everything about the lead up to her appearance was horrible. But Gal Gadot was a pretty convincing Wonder Woman. She pulled off the role, and I thought she was a beautiful sprinkle in a pool of diarrhea. And there was another cameo, Jason Momoa of previously of Game of Thrones fame. He's set up to play Aquaman, a movie which I will be boycotting to teach DC a lesson. But I feel bad for Jason Momoa, and I feel bad for Gal Gadot, because I think they deserve better. Maybe they can work their way into the Marvel Universe somehow, but god damn. The whole fucking series, the whole fucking franchise, everything needs to be rebooted, recast, redone, rewritten, and everyone needs to be fired. Everybody. With the exception of Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa. But yeah, if you're listening to this and you work for Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers has approached you about collecting money from you to launch their fucking shit shows, don't do it. Don't do it. Do anything else. You tell them, fuck you. You tell them they're evil. Because Batman and Superman did not deserve this. We as an audience did not deserve this. That promotions department should be flogged. And nothing like this must ever happen again, ever. But yeah, that's the movie. It was horrible. I can't express it more aptly than that. And because I'm still suffering, I'm still in pain, I'm still in shock from what I just witnessed. If you need any more convincing that Jesse Eisenberg is horrible shit, he is the new Jar Jar Binks. Okay, he was such garbage that he probably ruined the entire fucking series. And because he was the main bad guy and everybody else had to feed and work around him and his Wile E. Coyote antics, he has killed this franchise. And if the other studios followed this movie's example of how to promote a lie, then he may have killed the entire genre. If this somehow infects Marvel movies, we're finished. It's over. The ride is over. But yeah, this has been Splatzloki reviewing Batman vs. Superman, The Dawn of Justice. Thanks for hanging out. If a good movie does rear its head and I think it's worth watching, I will let you know here on my channel and on this show. And I'm very much looking forward to the next X-Men installment or the next Marvel movie. I will be reviewing that, and the moment it drops, I will be going to see that. So I don't think that this is the end of superhero movies as we know them, but it's certainly the end of my hopes for DC, for anything having to do with Henry Cavill's Superman and Ben Affleck's Batman. That ship has sailed. It was hit by a torpedo. It sank, and now it's working its way through the digestive system of an octopus with rabies. So yeah, just say no to DC until they get their shit straight, until they fire everybody responsible for this movie, and until they offer people their money back for having gone to the theater and sat through this shit, through this abuse. Until DC and Warner Brothers do that, you must, for the love of comics, for the love of movies, for the love of scripting, for the love of acting, for the love of humanity, you must boycott anything having to do with the Justice League until they apologize profusely for what they have done on this day. And that's our show. Comment below if you think I'm wrong, and I'm not. If you hate me for spoiling a spoiled movie, which I didn't. And if you're going to go see this anyway because of some masochistic impulse to commit mental suicide, I'd like to know. Comment below, and I will get to you trolls one at a time. For those of you who I've saved from mental anguish and abuse, for those of you who appreciate not wasting money or encouraging production companies who are out to fuck you over and lie to you, and are grateful, I'd like to hear from you too. Comment below and give that discourse some balance. And for those of you who have seen the movie, who love Superman, who love Batman, and who love DC, and hate and despise Warner Brothers and Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill for what they've done, comment below, because we must organize a party and we must track these fucking monsters down and keep them from breeding. They must be punished by the highest court in the land, or the best equivalent. But yeah, once again, this has been Splatzloki Reviews Movies, and today's installment was Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Shitfest. Till next time, this has been your host with the most, Splatzloki. See ya.